What's going on, guys? My name is Rumble Skrash. In today's video we're gonna be doing a guide of Pyro Rumble. So I'm gonna be explaining with detail everything that I have thought about of the mechanics and how Pyro Rumble works. I actually did a video talking about this already, but it was like my first YouTube video. I know probably not a lot of you have watched that video, and I think it's pretty important, and a lot of people have a lot of doubts about a lot of things in Pyro Rumble. So I'm gonna be trying to explain all that stuff, and I'm gonna be trying to do that quickly. Probably the video will be split in two parts. So in this first part, we'll see how far do we get. I will actually put in the description timestamps of every part so that you can go skip to the part that you're interested in, because maybe this early part, early 2 minutes of the video, it's gonna be like very basic stuff of how stats and everything works. So maybe you can check in the description what part are you interested in. But without further ado, let's start with the guide. I'm gonna begin with explaining like the basic stuff. So as you can see, this is the menu of Pyro Rumble, and well, now it's where it says calculating ranking, because now the championship just ended. I'm gonna be explaining how that works. As you can see, there's like three slots, which are like the 3 matches that you can do every day. So it resets at well, depends on the country where you live, but it resets at a certain time every day. And basically you can do 3 matches. You can spend a gem to do 3 more matches. You have here where it says setup, you have two kind of teams: the attacking teams, which are the teams that you are going to be using when you play, and then the defense team. The defense team, you're not going to be really using it when you play. It's just the team that people see when they attack you. So basically you set up an attacking team. Now I don't know, well, now I have a rainbow team, but you can have like any other team, for example the slashers here, and then when you leave the menu here, it stays with the slashers. And then when you go to one of these matches here in the middle where now it says calculating ranking, you will be able to see some teams. So now here in single match is just to test teams. It gives you no benefit or points or anything, and these teams are kind of really bad. But as you can see, if you click on one of them, here you can put like to battle, you can see the enemy units. Now that thing where it says combat power, it's not really that relevant, but yes. So in terms of points and rankings, it's what I want to explain first. So basically with each match, you're gonna be seeing how many points you get if you win, or how many you lose if you actually lose. And then you have like a total of Rumble points, where it says here in the corner, Rumble points right now 4,437, because this is like the Rumble points that I got in the previous championship. So how that works is basically there's first qualification of block A to C, and basically there's each of these blocks lasts for a week approximately, and then there's a rest day in the middle of each of these blocks, and then the fourth week of the month is the championship or exhibition. So if you rank top 5,000 in block A, I don't know if it says it here, no, it doesn't say it, but if you rank top 5,000 in any of the three blocks where it says qualification, well, you will get these rewards, but you will also be able to enter championship. So the last week championship is basically like the same thing, like people are competing for rewards, but their rewards, as you can see, are much greater, and more rumble scrolls, and also some gems depending on the rank that you go for. So if you do not rank top 5,000 in any of the blocks, you will enter exhibition. So in exhibition the rewards are smaller, but I mean, they are kind of similar, as you can see. For example, here in exhibition, rank 100, it's 40 gems, while in championship is 65 gems. So yeah, a little bit of a difference, but well. So Basically, what you want to do, it's just rank top 5000 in one of the blocks, and that's enough. It's not really hard to do. Just you have to spend, maybe if you do not set like a really good defense team, maybe you have to spend a couple of gems or something like that. Just make sure that one of the weeks of the months that then you qualify for championship, and then you are settled. So the defense team, you plan it in here, and basically this, as I said, this is the team that people see when they attack you. So well, I'm gonna be explaining some things about the defense team, but I also have a video talking about defense teams extensively, so I will link it here on top if you want to go check that out. So yeah, last thing that I want to mention is these titles. So basically, as here you can see the titles that you get depending on where you rank each time. So these red ones are the championship ones, which are the important ones. Yeah, but now let's talk about how Power Rumble works, the stats, the abilities, the buffs, the debuffs, and everything. So now we're going to be talking, as I said, about the stats in Power Rumble and stuff. So I'm going to be using B3 Boa as an example, because I just recently pulled her yesterday with the Rayleigh ticket of the one Legend of the last year guaranteed. So I haven't really invested in her. I haven't even max limit broken her. So yeah, she's gonna be useful to show and explain you guys. As you can see here in the normal game, the unit has the stats. So it has 3208 HP, and then 1571 attack. So as you can see here, if you press at Rumble stats, it has slightly different stats. So as you can see, there's a difference. And then there's the defense stat and the speed stat, which I'm going to be talking about later. So right now I'm only going to be talking about the first three stats, well, mainly the first two stats, so the HP and attack. And also I'm going to be explaining this passive and special, how does it work and everything. So basically, just so that you can see, I'm gonna be feeding some cotton candy to Boa, and you're gonna be able to see how does it increase. So I'm gonna be feeding one candy of each, so 1 HP, 1 attack, and 1 RCB, and you're gonna be able to see the increase with everything. So let's just remember the stats that she has right now. So in terms of HP, she's at 508, 890 of attack, and 444. So I'm going to be feeding that, and we're going to be seeing how does that change. So as you can see, a little bit of an approximation of the relation between stats in the normal game and stats in the in Power Rumble. So in terms of cotton candy and list and levels and stuff. So here, as you can see, the attack stat increased by 2 points instead of just 1, but the thing is that the cotton candy in the normal game increased 2 in terms of attack. So more or less the same. Sometimes it increases by 3 the stats, so it's a little bit between 2 and 3 the increase of stats in terms of attack. In terms of HP, as you can see, in the normal game, 1 cotton candy of HP increases by 5, and here it increased by 7. So as you can see, it's around 7-8 stat of HP per HP in the normal game. And in terms of RCB, it only increased by 1. I'm not sure, it maybe sometimes increases by 2, but yes, you can see there's a relation. But one other thing that I want to mention is that there's a lot of things that give a unit stats in Power Rumble. So all these sockets increase the stats. So it doesn't matter the sockets that you're using, it matters that the unit has level 5 sockets max. And also these limit break abilities give the unit stats. Also the special levels, and well, the limit break expansion and stuff also gives extra stats, because it gives extra stats in the normal game. So yeah, this is how stats work in Power Rumble. So now we are going to be talking about the two abilities, so the Rumble ability and the Rumble special. So this is like what people call the passive. So this ability, if Boa is in the main team, so the main team means, as if we go to the Power Rumble menu, we're gonna be seeing that there's like 5 main units and then 3 units which are called the bench units. So here you're going to be able to see that. So when a unit is in the main team, it means that the unit is getting the passive active. So these 5 units are the main units, so the main team, 5 units, and here this is the bench. So if a unit is in here, so in the top row, the passive will be making an effect, and it will be doing the thing that it says in the description of the unit. So right now I haven't explained what buffs do, but in terms, for example, with Boa, she will give attack up, which I'm going to be explaining what it is, and some defense, which I'm also going to be explaining. And then the passive, as you can see, it's like a special attack. So this CT that you can see, 28, it's the seconds that it takes for the unit to activate. So basically, once this number of seconds have passed, well, depending on some buffs, it can change, but in general, once 28 seconds have passed in the match, then the unit, when the unit attacks, will actually activate the special and do what it says here. So I'm going to be explaining what kinds of damage and stuff and debuffs and buffs there are, but right now, just so that you understand, one match is 100 seconds. So basically there's like a clock, it starts counting, and when 28 seconds have passed, 72, sorry, at second 72, Boa is gonna have the special ready, and the next time she actually attacks, then she's gonna do what it says in the special description. As you can see here, there's like the passive and the special. They have some numbers, which the passive goes from 1 to 5 levels and the special from 1 to 10. So each of these levels cost what is called Rumble EXP, and it's gotten by Rumble Scroll. So if I go to power up by Rumble special and ability the Boa, you can see here that the game actually just shows me already like the scrolls, and here I can fit scrolls to the unit. So one very important thing is that when you actually fit scrolls to a unit, with the same typing as the scroll, then there's like a 1.5 multiplier of the Rumble EXP. So ideally you only want to be powering a unit with its own colored scrolls. So these middle ones give you normally 1000 EXP, but when it's color matching, 1500. The small ones give you 300, but it's 450 for the same color, and the big ones give you 9000, as you can see, for the same color. So that's 6000 for another color. So I'm gonna be fitting, for example, now one of the middle ones, and as you can see, a screen of the levels of the, well, both of the passive and the specials is gonna be appearing, and it's gonna be showing how much Rumble EXP do you need to level up a unit. I'm gonna be showing you, for example, here, to go from level 1 special to level 2, I need 300 EXP, so I do this and it's already at level 2, and to go from level 1 to level 2 passive, I need 2000, but right now I only have like the remaining 1200, so I do not get to level 2 passive. So I put allocate, and that is yes, and then the unit has level 2 special, as you can see here in the description of the unit, and it actually says, you know, the necessary Rumble EXP for the next level that you need. So here now I'm at level 2, so the special has improved a little bit on what it does. So yeah, now I'm going to be showing you a table of the necessary Rumble EXP that you need for every level, depending on if the unit is a legend or is actually a rare recruit and stuff like that. So here I am in a document in Excel that has been made for some people in the Optc subreddit. So great shout outs to those guys. I think mainly Fate of Muffins and Giro56 have done all this stuff. So huge shout out to them, but also to anybody else that has contributed to that. I will link it in the description of the video if you want to check that out. A lot of info is there, and also you can just search search for OPTC subreddit, and then maybe for wiki, and then there's a whole section on Power Rumble, and I'm going to be using a lot of material from there, so huge shout out to those guys. And here, as you can see, there's a document which is telling you basically the necessary Rumble EXP to go for any level to the next one. So as you can see, like I just showed you, to go for a legend, which Boa is, to go from level 1 passive to level 2, I needed 2000, and then it goes increasing. So the maximum total Rumble EXP that you need for legend, as you can see here, it's 294,000, and it is lower for other different kind of units. So yeah, I mean, you can check that out, but normally if you have maxed a lot of units, at least with legends, you have kind of memorized all these numbers. So yeah, I mean, it just like, and then if not, the game just shows you that. But you can go check that out if you want to plan how to spend your scrolls. So yeah, really useful tool. So right now we will start explaining the buffs in Power Rumble. So we are gonna start to break down all this info inside the passive and the specials that the units do. So here, as you can see, we are with Doflamingo. I'm gonna start with the HP up buffs and the attack up buffs. So here, as you can see, Doflamingo with the passive will give Slasher and Driven teammates HP up level 6, and then for some number of seconds, which is very common in a lot of units, will give another buff, which is defense up, which I'm gonna be explaining about later, and then attack up level 6. So basically, if we look at here at the stats, so HP and attack, an HP up buff will give the unit 250 extra HP per level. So Dofi with level 6 HP up will give 1500 extra HP to a unit, which is really good. And then an attack up buff will actually give 75 extra attack to the unit per level. So here kind of a lot of attack up from Dofi to Slasher and Drivens. So yeah, now one thing that I want to mention, as you can see here, Dofi is giving a buff to Slasher and Driven. So I want to mention how does the classes and types works in Power Rumble. So for example, if it's a normal unit, like not dual unit or anything, basically it's very straightforward. The classes are the classes in the normal game, and the typing, it's the typing that the unit has. But for example, if we go to Shank's crew here, we can see that it is a dual unit. So how dual units work is the classes of the unit are actually only the classes of the combined version of the dual unit, so are not those classes. So Shank's crew is not shooter, it's the classes of the main combined unit. And the typings with dual units in Power Rumble, they do not have typings, so they are not considered Psy or not considered quick. So for example, Boa that we mentioned before is giving actually a buff of attack up to Psy, so Shank's crew is not getting that. So that's very important to keep in mind, that the dual units are not considered to be of any color in Power Rumble. So yeah, now as you can see, we're gonna start to break down a little bit the types of damage that there are. So as you can see, Boa will give 4000 fixed damage to a certain unit. I'm going to be talking about targetings later. So 4000 damage, that's fixed damage. When there's like the specific number written, that is fixed damage. So I'm going to be explaining why fixed damage is very useful, because it will bypass in a sense defensive effects. So yeah, and then there's going to be so very similar actually to the normal game, because it bypasses the defense stats. So here, if we go to Doflamingo, we're gonna be seeing a different kind of attack, so a different kind of damage. So as you can see, there's like deals to a certain number of enemies, attack multiplied by 2. So this is multiplier damage, and this is basically getting the attack stat, so basically the main base stat of attack of the unit, and then adding the attack up buffs Now there's a thing called debuffs, which a debuff of attack is basically the opposite of an attack buff, so we'll subtract 75 attack from the unit. So basically the damage that the unit deals is calculated by just adding the attack up and then multiplying by the number that the unit in particular says. And then there's some different calculations with the defense stat of the defending unit, but for the moment we are going to be talking about the damage that the unit outputs, and then we're going to be seeing how that is translated in the actual damage that the unit does. So this is like fixed damage, and then here this is multiplier damage. So, and then there's another kind of damage, which I'm gonna go back to Shankscrew, which is health cut. So the percent damage is very straightforward. Like in the normal game, will reduce the current HP of the unit by the certain number that it says, so by 21%. So that is important. It's the current HP of the unit, not the actual like number based on the max HP of the unit. So yeah, very straightforward. So this is the kind of damage that there are, but this is like the special damage. So but there's also the normal attack. So when the unit attacks and does not have the special ready, it will deal some normal attacks, which here in behavior pattern you can see. So basically the normal attack will do power attack and then heal self. Well, the heal is, I think it heals like 250 HP. It's not really that relevant, but as you can see, there's power attack, and but there's other concepts that you can see. For example, if I go to Doflamingo, I think he has different, and you will be seeing exactly here there's normal attack, and I'm gonna go to Odin. I think has an interesting order of attacks. So here, as you can see, there's normal attack, power attack, full attack. So I'm going to be explaining what that actually means. So basically a normal attack, it's getting the total attack stat, so basically the base stat and then all the buffs and debuffs, and multiplied by 0.6. Then that's the damage that a normal attack does. A power attack is actually 0.9 multiplier, and then a full attack is 1.5 damage. So there's a thing called crit, which I'm going to be explaining too, but crit basically does like the same damage as a full attack, so that's 1.5 the multiplier, so it deals more damage with the normal attack. So I'm going to be showing you how that looks when the unit does that. So as you can see here, the Luffy Sanji is attacking the Doffy and it says full attack. So basically when it says full attack, it means that the unit is gonna be dealing extra damage. I think there's no difference when it's doing like a power attack. Maybe it says power attack, now I'm not really sure, but I think it doesn't really say anything, but the unit is dealing more or less damage. So yeah. Now I'm gonna start talking now about the defense stats. So that's a very important thing in Power Rumble, and one of the very complicated stuff of Power Rumble. So I'm gonna be trying to explain as clear as possible. As you can see here, Doffy, well, here on top in the corner it says defensive style. Like this is like an indicative of what the units do. This is like a tanky unit, and as you can see, it gives a defense up buff. So defense up buff, we are gonna have to look at the defense stat of the unit. As you can see, there's a defense stat. These stats and the speed buff too do not really change when you level up the unit or anything. There's like fixed numbers and they do not increase or decrease. Well, at least the base number. So in the case of Doffy has 287 base defense, which I'm gonna be explaining what that means. So basically with every defense up buff, it will give an extra 25 defense to the unit, and with every defense down debuff, it will give 25 less defense. So very straightforward, that you just have to calculate the number of defense, but the complicated part is actually how does the defense of a unit affect the damage that it receives. So as I talked about, there's like the multiplier damage that Doffy has. So here Doffy, as I said, deals 2 times the attack. So if we calculate with all the attack buffs, we can get a number that the Dofi would be dealing with the attack. But if the enemy unit have, like, depending on the defense of the enemy unit, it will reduce more or less the damage that it takes. So basically defense in Power Rumble works very similarly as in the normal game for damage reduction. So the unit, depending on the number of defense that it has at that certain moment, will get a certain number of 10% damage reduction, and that will actually be applied to the total damage that the special would deal or a normal attack will deal after calculating all the attack up buffs and debuffs. So there's like a very useful tool also in the subreddit section of Optc. There's a whole section dedicated to Power Rumble, and there's a lot of info there. So again, huge shout out to Fate of Muffins and GRC56 to do all that info. Very useful. And there's actually a formula of how the defense and the damage reduction is actually calculated depending on the defense stat and depending on the damage that the unit should be dealing. So very complicated. There's also a damage calculator which is linked in there, and you can go check that out. You can just input the ID of a unit, and then it will show you their stats, and you can actually see how much damage will the unit deal depending on the defense stat of the defending unit. So I'm gonna be showing you guys that now. So here, as you can see, this is the formula that the guys in the Reddit did. So very impressive. They did some kind of approximation, so I guess so interpolation was done here. But basically the total number that this formula gives you is the percent damage reduction that the unit is getting. So this is like the number that you have to multiply the total amount of damage that the unit will deal. So it will deal less damage than that. This number will go from 0 to 1, and basically you just put all these numbers, and when it says defense, you just put the stat of defense that the unit has at that certain moment. So calculating all the defense up buffs and all the defense down debuffs. So you just put that and it will give you the number, but obviously you don't really want to be putting all these numbers in the calculator every time that you get it. So you can actually calculate the damage in the Power Rumble damage calculator, which I'm going to be showing you guys. So before we go to the damage calculator, here as you can see, this is like a screenshot of the moment previous to Luffy Sanji activating the special. My Luffy Sanji has attack up level 11, and then as you can see, the special is gonna be targeting, as you can see here, Dofi and Kizaru. As you can see, the attack up of my Luffy Sanji has actually decreased, so it's just level 4. So just keep that in mind. And as you can see, the defense on the Dofi and Kizaru is defense up level 6. But as you can see here, the clock has gone down to exactly 70 seconds. So the defense up buff from Dofi and Kizaru has expired, because the defense up buff from Dofi only lasts for the first 30 seconds, and the defense up buff from Roger the same. So basically, when the units are receiving this damage, they have no defense up buff. So if they had, you just have, when we do the calculation in the calculator, you just have to add the number of defense up buff that there are, and you will get the total resulting amount of damage. But obviously, as Dofi and Kizaru have different defense stats, they will actually be getting different damage with the same multiplier and the same attack up in the unit of Luffy Sanji. So here, as you can see, Luffy Sanji is targeting both of them, and here is the total damage that the unit is actually dealing. So as you can see, a lot more damage is received by Kizaru than Dofi. So Kizaru is actually dying, and Dofi is actually barely surviving somehow. So the total resulting number is 4,500 damage approximately to Dofi, and 7,000 approximately damage to Kizaru. So we're going to be putting those numbers in the damage calculator, and we're going to be seeing how accurate that actually is. But before we go to the damage calculator, as you saw previously, Dofi had a defense stat of 287 and Kizaru precisely has a stat of 187. So we're gonna have to change that, and we're gonna be seeing how 100 defense stat makes all that difference of 3,000 extra damage to one unit, and the other one is tanking 3,000 damage. So yeah. So the actually attack stat of my Luffy Sanji is actually 3,109 attack. It is not rainbow because of the hunger tablets. So here normally if you put the ID of the unit, it will actually give you the resulting unit. The thing is that with Luffy Sanji, the unit is actually not there, but you can just switch things around. So basically the Capone appeared here, and it's actually saying the stat that it's calculating it with. It's a little bit messy, but the thing is that it doesn't really matter the unit that they put, as long as this base attack with the attack buffs are actually doing the same thing, because it is yourselves who writes the multiplier. The Luffy Sanji multiplier, it's 3.5, and now here I just have calculated the total attack that Luffy Sanji would have, adding that 3,109 plus the level 4 attack up. So here with these numbers, this is exactly the same. So we're gonna be getting the exact same result, and the total raw damage is 11,900 damage approximately. I think the exact number should have been 11,921, but well, it's very, very similar. And here, for example, we have to write the base defense stat of the unit that we are attacking. So here, as you can see, 187, this is the damage that we're going to be dealing to Kizaru. Now, if the unit had some defense up buff, you just have to put here, for example, 2, and it will actually change the damage. So, but now they had no defense buff. So as you can see here, we can get the total damage, which is 7,013 actual damage. So here, this is set. Now, if I actually want to calculate the damage that we are dealing to Dofi, we just have to change the defense up stat, and as you can see, boom, it's very, very similar in the footage that I show you in the video. Sorry, in the game, it actually dealt 4,500 damage. So yeah, approximately those are very, very accurate numbers to calculate it with, and a very useful tool if you want to calculate if at a certain moment of the match a unit will be able to one-shot another one or not, or how much damage the unit will actually deal. And also it's very useful to see how the damage is reduced, and if you want to see, for example, with, I don't know, level 12 defense stat, attack defense buff, a unit with multiplier damage will actually be dealing any damage or not. So yeah, really, really useful tool. And just keep in mind that, yeah, I mean, this ID thing, it's not really that relevant. You just have to make the attack stat be the same, and then you just write the multiplier and stuff. And if you had any defense down, you just put the defense down. You can either put the defense down or calculate it by yourself. Every level of defense down is minus 25 defense, and you just have to calculate and put the total defense here, and it's exactly the same. So yeah, one thing that I want to mention, as here it says, the formula that I showed you, as it is an approximation, it does not work when the defense is over 704. So at very, very high levels of defense, it's not that accurate. But well, the thing is that if you are over 700 of defense, then well, you're tanking most of the damage, so you don't really have to worry about all these small differences. So yeah. So I think I will end this first part of the guide here. So if you wanna see how speed buffs and speed works in the game, how targeting works, order of attacks, the range of special damage, and all those other kind of different stuff, go check out the second part of the guide. I'm gonna talking about that stuff there. So I hope you guys enjoyed this first part where I was mainly talking about how the stats in Power Rumble work, the Rumble EXP, how in general rankings work, and then also started to talk about the different buffs that there are and how special and passive work. So if you wanna check out the rest, go check out the second part. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and as always, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.